It's these two guys.
These two guys.
It's these two guys.
Hey, welcome. It's These Two Guys podcast. I'm George Henry.
And this is Larry Richardson.
And we are
These Two Guys.
And before we start off, I just want to say if you are extremely left or extremely right, this may not be for you.
Yeah. Yes.
We may not be the podcast you're looking for.
Yes. We try to be general. We try to poke out things from the left or the right side. And again, it doesn't appease everybody because overall, if you pick one side over the other, you're going to alienate the other half, right? And we don't want to alienate anybody. And we're just really coming from a point of being American citizens and being concerned and what we know to be factual. And if we do misquote something or something, we usually will put a notification somewhere in this vicinity to let you guys know that we made a mistake. But there's no propaganda here.
And again, I mean, I can't speak for Larry, but as for myself, I only go down the rabbit hole so far on certain things. Now, there's some things I go way down the rabbit hole on, but there's usually not something, so intense. So I get a lot of the surface stuff. I get a lot of the preliminary information that gets out there. You tend to dig a little deeper. I think this time I dug a little deeper than I normally do. We got a bunch of papers here to talk about some of the things that we want to talk about. But I'm just saying, I personally, and I think I can speak for you, Larry, tell me if I can, we don't dislike people because of where they sit politically.
No, never.
I mean, I understand people on the far left. I understand people on the far right. I get their basic premises on why. I think that if we just were a little bit more understanding, we might be able to come up with some more truth rather than a lot of conspiracy theories.
True. And because, in reality, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't really matter. If you're supporting them and you're supporting their lives from either side, because they all do it, you're just feeding the beast. So we're not really getting anywhere as long as we're turning a blind eye to things that we know that are not truth. So that's why, we try to point out certain criticisms or certain things that we know to be factual. And it's not to poke aside this side versus that side. It's to open dialogue and discussion so that not only we can talk about it, but you guys can talk about it as well. Because, that's the only way we're going to get anywhere is being able to accept the fact that the person that you thought was great may not be great. The party you think is wrong may not be wrong. And just have that dialogue and just be open.
And I kind of think that's where we are. We just, we want people to talk about this stuff rather than fight about it.
Correct. Yeah. 100%.
And trust me, there's plenty of stuff to fight about. You can look at some of the stuff going on and you just shake your head. You hear something somebody on the far right says and you shake your head. You hear something somebody on the far left says and you're like, both wrong in their own direction, Yeah. And sometimes they're right, but they skew information so that it benefits them. Yeah. So it's a little bit more, they put a little more emphasis on a factual thing than what maybe it deserves. They give it more weight than it actually deserves.
And I'll go out on a limb and say this, it doesn't matter Republican, Democrat, or even independent. A politician will tell you that they're for you. They're really for keeping power. That's my take on it. A Republican will tell you, promise you the world. A Democrat will promise you the world. I don't really hear much from independents. Usually they're low level, government officials or they hold certain small level offices and stuff. But same thing. A person who wants to hold on to power would tell you anything you need to hear in order for you to give them their vote and their support. So take that as you will. Most people's mileage may vary, but that's what I believe.
And two, going along with that, there are people out there that think they're keeping power for the greater good.
Right.
Because the message they have needs to get out. The message they want, the message they're carrying with them is so important that they can't give up power. But I think the reality of it is that we weren't meant to have career politicians.
No.
Our Constitution was, apparently there's some errors in there. We all know that. But, it wasn't meant for someone to spend 40 years in Congress.
Right, passing out and spazzing during the middle of a...
And it was supposed to be a civil service.
Right.
It wasn't supposed to be a career.
Term limits, salary caps, I mean, and everything got perverted. I mean, the salary caps are there, but yet these guys are leaving as multi-millionaires. Which most of them are not supposed to take like speaking gigs and all other stuff while they're being of service to us, right?
While they're doing their job.
While they're doing their job, but yet the $174,000 a year, these people end up multi-millionaires within a 4-year period, a 2-year period, or you got guys that are just way beyond their age limit, and they should definitely pass on the newer and younger blood, and it just.
Well, when I was younger, I was thinking the old politicians. So it's nothing new. I mean, we're still. When I was in my 20s, I was thinking most of these people are too old. They don't need to be in there. Right. So now at 65, I'm like, these people are too old. They don't need to be in there. And nothing's really changed. But at the same time, I'm at the age that I thought people were too old. Well, maybe not. I mean, I guess when you hit 70. I guess you can still have your mental faculties all there. You can still be totally coherent and have cognitive responses and stuff like that. But again, is it the best time? Wisdom is good, yes, but can you have wisdom at a younger age?
Yeah. And I know the president has to take those cognitive tests, but does Congress, Senate, these guys?
Does he have to take the cognitive test, or do
we push him to do it?
Do they suggest it?
I thought it was required like every 2 years or something like that they do it.
I would think that would be unlawful or unreasonable to ask that, because you'd have to have, number one, I would think you would have to give your permission to give it to you, right? And there aren't many people in power that are going to go, yeah, I'll take a cognitive test. I just wouldn't think so. But the fact that, we've asked, I think we asked Biden, right? Didn't we ask Biden to do it?
We asked Biden.
We asked Trump to do it. Now, I think Trump did do it. I don't remember if Biden did it or not. I think he did, but I don't remember.
I don't remember him taking it. I know that was a thing that people have requested, and we did confirm it. There is no mandatory test on this sitting U.S. president to take a cognitive test. So, but I know Trump has taken it. I think both terms at least once. I don't think Biden has taken it.
Yeah. Well, and again, it was one of those things that Trump took it his first one.
I'm pretty sure he took it his first one.
I know he's taken. I think he's
because he always brags about it.
Well, but
I'm the smartest person in the room.
But that doesn't.
Nobody's smarter.
He doesn't need to take a test to say that, though.
No,
he could just say that. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, he'll say that anyway. Exactly. Yeah. But
so what we wanted to talk about was, and it's a little bit. I don't know. It's been about 2 weeks now that it first came out, and that was what they were calling, what some people were calling, and I will say probably those on the left were calling it the $1.8 billion slush fund.
Yeah.
That was what they were calling it. And some others were calling it a reparations fund.
Right.
Which was funny because I was watching some memes and people on there, and some of the commentators on there were like, you want reparations? Get in line.
Yes.
African Americans, Native Americans.
Yep.
They're like, get in line, But I don't know. I don't see it as that. But again, I think the broader definition of what this is to be used for isn't specifically for, let's say, what some people are saying, the rioters of January 6th.
Right.
But some of them could qualify for this. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody that got arrested will qualify for it.
Right.
There are a lot of stipulations.
There's a lot of people on January 6th that still should be locked up. Somebody who's leaning a little farther away from left, I agree that there's people in January 6th that should be locked up. And I think there's people that were in there that probably should not have been locked up. There are people that, but as far as this goes, this slush fund, right, the fund, I think that it's kind of shameful that a lot of the people who are against it are just labeling it as $1.6 billion fund for January 6th. They don't actually list. They don't really comment on anything else. And I think that's kind of misleading to the folks that hear this, because as we're going to go into, it's not just for January 6th. This is a whole different thing.
But here's interesting: the Justice Department, the Department of Justice under the Trump administration, this is called the 1.776 billion Anti-Weaponization Fund. Now, do you notice anything interesting about that? Read the numbers. Just read the numbers without the comma.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Did you notice that?
1776. That's
Isn't that interesting?
somebody in the marketing team got a raise.
I think so.
Someone in the marketing team before the finance guy, the marketing team would have said, "You know, would have been a great idea. We'll do 1770." I just noticed that. That is awesome.
I know, and it was like I had this printed up. It was on my desk at work the other day, and Rachel that works for us noticed that. She goes, "Oh, you ever notice how that when there's certain things that come up, you know, that they're using this 1776?" I was like, "See, I didn't even recognize it either." She's the one to point out. I'm like, "Well, how about that?"
I just looked at it several times and I didn't think about it until you said it. But he kind of does throw things in there like that. The 250th anniversary, he'll always try to seem a little bit more patriotic about certain things when he does things like this. That's not a positive or a negative. It's just an observation. I think he does tend to.
And don't get me wrong when I say this, because when I say what I like about Trump, that doesn't necessarily mean I like what he does. But what I think is interesting, let me put it that way. What I think is interesting about Trump, he will say something positive and then something negative in the same sentence.
Yes.
He will say something really, I mean, it sounds almost like it was come from a heartfelt individual, and then he'll dumb it down with something.
Yeah, it's like one of those like memes or cartoons you'll see where something is playing and someone's getting up and they're getting ready to salute, and then something stupid happens and you're like, "Oh, you just ruined it." Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had a moment.
But anyway, those that support the fund say it's intended to address what they view as politically motivated investigations or prosecutions. So it's not necessarily January 6th. No. But this could also, I would think, this could also hurt the Trump administration from trying to go after certain individuals too. Yeah. Like, you know, if Biden had gone after certain individuals, Trump had gone after certain individuals. You know, I mean, could it be construed that Stephen Colbert could sign up for part of the slush fund?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we were, you know, as we're going to go into a little bit of ambiguity of it. When does the time frame start and when does it end? Is it just supposedly during the Biden administration? Because that's what he kind of pushes it as, right? Just during the Biden administration, if you were a victim, it's like one of those late night TV ads. If you're a victim of Biden DOJ weaponization, call this number. You know, you might be entitled to a financial payout. Or is it just, does it continue to today? Because clearly
it wouldn't suit them to continue.
No,
through
it
today.
wouldn't, because clearly Trump's DOJ is definitely going after people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of names getting thrown around. Nobody's going to jail, which I think is still kind of weird, but there's a lot of names being thrown out there and a lot of people are getting investigated. I mean, you got Ilhan Omar, you got Fani Willis, you got, just people from the left, just everybody is just getting called out.
But at the same time, you've also got generals that are going by the wayside.
Yeah.
You know, you have his own staff members that are resigning for one reason or another.
Yep.
You know, his national intelligence director, you know, she resigned.
She resigned.
So
the guy from the Iran, the one that came
Kent.
out. Yeah.
Joe Kent.
Joe Kent.
Now, he went first, and then Tulsi Gabbard was the most recent one to walk away from her position. Now, she said it was because of her husband's cancer diagnosis. But I'm sure that the stress at work wasn't helping.
No.
Wasn't helping.
No.
But anyway, there's controversies. One of the things that's involved in this, the Mar-a-Lago document investigation.
Yes.
That was something that the Trump administration thought was unfair. FBI surveillance, Russian investigations, you know, stuff like that. And
that's, you know, I mean, the Russia hoax, I mean, that even went before Biden, so I don't know how that ties into this. Again, if there's a time frame, but yeah, I mean, there's certain things as far as Trump's cases may go. I can see the Mar-a-Lago document investigation, because if I'm not mistaken, a president has the ability to unclassify any documents, or maybe not all documents, but any documents they want. I'm going to say any documents they want, but I think there's a stipulation.
He can declassify certain documents, yes,
Right.
and maybe any one that he chooses to.
Right.
But I think you have to do it while you're president. You can't take them with you and then.
Well, I think you can't take them with you and then decide, oh, you want those documents? By the way, I'm going to declassify those, even though I'm not the president. But a vice president does not have that ability. So when Biden had documents and Trump had documents, it was kind of, what do you say, same but different, right?
Well, it was even said that Obama had some documents too.
I think all presidents.
I think
do.
they do.
I think they all do.
I think they do.
So that
It's
so
just
that,
a matter of like, all right. Again, I think the left picks on Trump because they don't want him doing anything that looks illegal.
right.
But then again, presidents use documents for their libraries when their libraries are dedicated
Right.
and stuff like that, and so they have these documents there. If it's not national security issue, I don't understand why it's a big deal.
From what I understand, there were certain documents they wanted from him, and he didn't give it to the DOJ when they asked for it, and that prolonged delay prompted them to go in there and look for the documents, and then now you have all these other documents that you're not supposed to have that were not unclassified. So I think that's what was the initial reason why they went to Mar-a-Lago.
So would you say it was a little bit of Trump's ego that caused this, rather than just giving, okay, here they are?
I think if they asked him for documents and he didn't present them when asked, regardless of if he declassified them or not, I think if they were his documents during his presidency and he owned them, he could have given it to them and gotten them back. He could have just done what they asked him to do.
Here.
And they wouldn't have came. And I can assume they wouldn't have
Yeah.
came. But, again, going on that conspiracy path, the guy did have also 91 other indictments for other things going on. So I think there was a little bit of an effort to get him for something.
Yeah.
So that's just me speaking, logically. I've never seen anyone get 91 indictments that somebody was not gunning after.
Oh, definitely. I think they were gunning for him.
Yeah. But yeah, and then claims. There's also claims of multimedia censorship conditions. So basically, you can file for this for a part of this fund, but you have to have proof that there had been some hardship. I assume based on.
Right.
Not only was there hardship, but there also has to be proof that ties it back to Biden's DOJ. I assume what should not be ambiguous. There should be some irrefutable proof that it was weaponization and not just the swift arm of the law coming down on you for something that you broke the law.
Right. At that moment when January 6th was happening, if someone got arrested at that point, then
that was just a law.
That was just a law. It wasn't like okay, we're going to go out there and arrest them,
right?
Because we think they're bad people.
Right. Yeah. January 6ers, I think, to me, honestly, they don't qualify. The ones who were actually caught doing something. If you broke in, there's trespassing or whatever. There's people, the guy with the horns or whatever his name is. Whatever.
Didn't he die?
If he did, it was recent.
Yeah.
Was it recent? Yeah,
I think he might have. I think
you might be right.
So he's not eligible for.
No, he's not. Maybe his family might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys, the guys climbing on the walls, the guy coming in, breaking the glass or whatever. You know what? Seditious conspiracy is what they got charged with. I'm all good for that. They should not be eligible for it. The people who they have on video just walking through and they're getting a tour through the building. And if they got arrested, then I still wouldn't say that they would be entitled to this fund, but the seditious conspiracy probably cases should go away, and no funds for you. But now the other stuff,
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the ambiguity here, because I don't know. I'm looking through this. I don't know how you would determine eligibility for this. I guess it would have to be a case by case basis.
Yeah.
But what we looked at in some of the likely political objectives set there, observers believe the broader goals may include reframing the historical narrative around January 6th, institutionalizing claims that federal agencies were weaponized against conservatives and Trump supporters, discouraging future politically sensitive investigations by increasing potential financial liability for the government. Now that one I can see.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, like, okay, well, we're not going to investigate because we could be held, you know, financially liable if this is determined to be a witch hunt.
Yeah. And if anything, like you said, it could be just a ploy really to take the air out of January 6th. You know, if there's going to be reparations for you being out there and you got arrested for not really, you know, being an insurrectionist, then it probably wasn't an insurrection, right? Because we have money there to prove 1776, right? So $1.776 billion that says that this was all just weaponization from Biden. And really was no January 6th.
And again, it's not determined that they are specifically, in fact, I don't think it's been mentioned, they are specifically eligible for this.
No.
And again, I think it'd be a case-by-case basis. And again, there's already efforts to block this, you know, and it'll probably end up in the Supreme Court at some point, whether or not they'll actually be actually used. But then again, what also came of this was that the agreement that Trump and his lawyers made to drop his case, his $10 billion case, you know, in order for this fund to become available.
Yeah. I wonder if this is conspiracy brain. I wonder if this was a way, he drops a $10 billion case, right?
Right.
Because they release his tax documents and stuff illegally and all this other stuff, all this things that suppose that happened to him. Because, you know, that was going to probably be dragged out. Creates the $1.776 billion fund, and then makes himself the first defendant of weaponization. I'm sorry, I just thought that.
You know, I mean, that's not impossible to think.
And he gets, because of his own DOJ, he gets awarded exactly $1.776 billion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
I'm just being funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might not fly.
No,
but
no.
Then again, I wouldn't put it past him to try it.
It made me think about it. I thought
Yeah.
about it. I was like, you know, it's kind of humorous, but you know.
Well, I think, you know, and again, this is gonna sound like I'm politically left, but I'm not. But I think Trump's made enough money in his presidency that he doesn't need an extra $1.776 billion.
No, he does not. He does
But
not.
anyway, and that's another one of those things. It's like, you know, I'm not so sure that being a businessman, he still is positively or negatively affected in his business outside of his presidency. Right. So in other words, if his businesses do well, that's money that he's going to get once he's out of the presidency.
Right.
I'm not so sure, and it's not just for Trump, but any future president or any past president to say, you know, you can't benefit off, you know, you can't say, hey, we got a deal with Iran, and then all of a sudden oil goes down. Then you blow them out of the water, and oil goes back up. You know, and I think that should be.
I thought about that, like, you know, insider trading, and that because it's really all stocks, right? I mean, it's basically but wouldn't that be very easy to track when you're selling and buying? If you're buying ahead of time before an action or selling after a certain action?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. Now, I was watching an episode of Tucker Carlson, which I don't normally do, but there was a guy on there talking about, and he was giving evidence, and I didn't really listen that closely because it was kind of in the background while I was working, talking about how the day before one of these events, someone put $800 million into the market, and the market shot up after Trump's announcement. So somebody knew something.
Somebody knew something. $800 million is, I mean, Warren Buffett probably wouldn't just drop $800 million on something that.
No. So, I mean, you know, do I believe? Do I have proof? No. Do I believe there's insider trading going on? Yes, absolutely. And I'm not saying it's limited to Republicans.
No.
I think anybody that's money hungry is going to be out there trying to make a profit.
Well, if you look at the fact that they try to pass a law to prevent people of Congress and the Senate and the House and people who had inside information from participating in stock purchases, what was it, like 90% of them shot it down or something like that. So do what you want to do with
Right.
those numbers.
Well, and
This is
out of the 90%, maybe only 70% or less were for that reason because they still wanted to do it.
Yeah.
The others might have had other reasons for it. I don't know. But the idea that they will not vote for anything that's going to hurt their power.
correct.
They wouldn't even vote for, if the government is not funded, we don't get paid.
Right.
They wouldn't even vote for that.
They didn't vote for the sexual misconduct law they try to pass. I mean, you're supposed to be clean sheets. I would expect 100% of them to say, "Hey, you won't find anything on me," and they voted against it. They shot it down. So what does that again? What does that tell you?
And again, I don't know if there were any riders on the, because see, that's another thing about government. You have and I've talked with our Congresswoman Val Hoyle about this, and it's like, so you've got a perfectly good bill, right? That will help a lot of people, or that will do a lot of good, or will fund a lot of stuff. And then you put the fat on it.
Yes.
Well, we're going to tack this onto it. We're going to tack that onto it. We're going to tack that onto it. So all of a sudden, instead of one law, by agreeing with this bill, you are eventually
Open
going to
the
have like
floodgate.
10 laws
Yeah.
that are come from this, and only one of them may be good.
And that's why I have a lot of lack of trust. When I see new bills being passed and they're just giving you one description, you know damn well there's 20 other things that you're opening a floodgate for, and people don't. We have way too much trust in these people who write our laws and write our bills. And same with this slush fund or whatever. It is very ambiguous. At best, it could be for exactly what it's for, and there's few cases that someone may actually get some money out of it because they can prove. I mean, I post on Facebook a bunch of Kamala Harris's word salad memes because I just thought they were hilarious, right? I posted a bunch of them. They got removed
Well,
from
you
Facebook.
also post a guy on bamboo jumping back and forth too. So
Oh yeah. JD Vance. If it's funny to me, I'm gonna post it. Yeah, I don't care what side it's
was
from.
that JD Vance?
The big fat guy jumping from the band? That's JD Vance.
Oh, was it?
That's the JD Vance meme that
I thought it was some Hawaiian guy.
I think Tim Walz
Oh,
had somebody make that, and Tim Walz was the one that released it, and JD Vance ran with it. So he actually trolls himself with that exact same meme.
okay.
So
Cool.
yeah,
I didn't realize that. But anyway, so you posted a lot of Facebook, a lot of word salad.
I pushed a bunch of word solids, and they got removed, and I ended up in Facebook jail for what was it? Spreading misinformation. For posting a meme of something that she actually said it was actually her memes. So, obviously I wouldn't qualify, but there was clearly some type of
I think you ought to apply. You ought to
yeah.
get part of that 1.776 billion.
And I'll get 1.77 cents. The 6 will be, 1.78 because they'll just round up. So I mean, there was definitely a lot of stuff that was going on during that time.
So back to the thing we were talking about earlier. Do you think there is significance in that it's 1.776 billion, or do you think that was just random? Because that just seems like an awful specific amount.
I don't think it's random. I don't think, and I'm going to say this, and I know it's not going to be popular with my friends on the left. I don't think Trump really does anything randomly. He may say random shit, like he may say something that seems completely random. He may vary off in his conversations, but if he came up with this number, I think he came up with it primarily to have it look very patriotic.
Well, and again, I want to go back to Ronald Reagan, George Bush the first, Bill Clinton, George Bush the second, Junior, Obama, all those. None of these men are making decisions by themselves. Not even Trump.
No.
They've got a group of people behind them. They got the Karl Rove. They got what was James Carville.
James
they've got
Carville.
they've got these guys that are behind them that are in their ear.
Yeah.
Now, I would think, and I don't have the fact for this, but I would think Trump's a little less likely to listen to somebody unless they're saying what he wants to hear. You know what I'm saying? Do you get that kind of vibe?
I always had the vibe that the reason why Trump was an outlier to every politician is because he was not a politician. I think that's the reason why he immediately got hated on when he first went down that escalator and said he's running for president. Because if you go back and you look, there's an interview with Oprah Winfrey, there's an interview with Larry King, and I think Barbara Walters interviewed him back in the 80s, and they always asked him about his political aspirations. And he's like, I won't run unless I feel like I have to run.
Right.
No one cared. No one said anything about him back then.
But what did he also say back then?
He said a lot of stuff.
If I run, I'm going to run as a Republican.
Yes.
Because they're dumb enough to vote for me.
Did he say that?
That's exactly what he said.
I know he said that he was not going to run as a Democrat. But I didn't hear that. But I wouldn't put it past him.
No, it's
because he was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Democrat most of his life. So, but yeah, and I always saw someone who was not going to be the status quo. He was not going to be that politician that they're going to find a frozen package of aluminum foil with some cash in it in the freezer, right? It's not going to be that payoff type guy. I'd never seen him as someone who will take orders or take direction from somebody else. And I think that's one of the reasons why I felt that the reason why there was so much opposition to keeping him from getting into office.
Well, and there's a 51% of the nation or 50% of the nation that thought, I like this guy because he's not a politician, because he's not ruled by, that kind of mentality, and that he does say things that are off the wall. And, a lot of people think, like you said, this is just him saying stuff, I have mixed feelings on that. I think we've had brighter presidents.
I agree. I think, well, I don't know if I say bright. Well, we have had brighter, but
more conniving.
We've had more well-spoken presidents. I mean, hell, even, and again, I'm no fan of Biden's either. Even when Biden spoke, I mean, thank God there was a teleprompter nearby. He still spoke better, I think, than Trump does. And I hate to say, when the sentences were coherent.
I never liked Biden. I was never a fan of Biden.
Same.
I just, when in the early years when he ran for president, I was like, this guy is so vanilla. There's nothing about him that makes me, go, yeah, this guy'd be a good president.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, I'm talking about when I was in, I must have been in my early 30s the first time he ran. What was it, in the 90s or even the 80s? Because he ran like 5 times.
Well, yeah, and I guess he thought he was. Yeah, he did run when he was fairly young.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to get in because he was like the youngest person ever elected in the Congress or something like that. The youngest person ever. So at least up to that time. But he ran a few times.
Yeah.
He ran a few times. I didn't know about Joe Biden until, I didn't do my research on Joe Biden until after the 2016 election, or after the 2020 election, sorry. I had my concerns.
So while he was vice president, you didn't give him any.
Because you never seen him.
Yeah.
What did he do?
Yeah.
What did he do? That guy was, it should have been the other way around. Obama should have been, we think Obama was the shadow and he was the up front, but no, that guy was always in the back. He got a couple hugs, a few high fives, but yeah, no, he didn't do it. He didn't do enough for me same with Pence. Pence didn't do enough. J.D. Vance is not doing enough for me to really feel like I need to, research him. Now, J.D. Vance I probably will because he'll be pretty much almost incumbent come 2028.
Or DeSantis.
Well, but he's already in office as vice president.
Usually that doesn't guarantee a win at all.
No, but he has a better chance. You look at like Kamala, right? I mean, the question that basically was a nail in her coffin was, what would you do differently? And she said absolutely nothing. And I think that was a nail in her coffin because everybody knew that there were problems, and she just kind of didn't.
Well, and I think what also hurt her was that the observation or the look that they pushed Biden out to get her in.
Right.
There should have been a primary.
There should have been a primary. The Democrats would probably still be in office if there was a primary because everybody hated Trump. They were in the perfect elevation to keep that hate going but I think that time frame we're totally in a tangent here, but this is fun stuff. You guys,
I mean,
you get some insight into here. I think that with Kamala, there was numerous things that were bad. One, she blew almost $2 billion. She paid all these actors and actresses to come out and show. She would never do any unfriendly interviews. What was this? NBC or CBS got caught editing her videos to make her seem like her responses were more intelligent. She had way too many, she giggled a little. She was just unserious. She giggled about everything. But one of the things that did it for me was when her teleprompter broke. She could not utter a word when her teleprompter broke. And that just goes to show that she's not thinking for herself. If it's not written down for her, she doesn't know what to say. And that was just like, and I have family members that say, oh my gosh, she's smart, she's intelligent. Yeah, but Trump said, oh, these things break down all the time. And you see him sit there and rip about firing the teleprompter guy, and he will go on and for hours, without a teleprompter.
yeah, but what was he saying during those hours?
Absolutely nothing.
So, I mean, I would imagine that I would say Clinton and Obama might be the exception, and not because they're Democrats, just because they have that way about them. They could talk through a hurricane or lightning storm and no lights at all.
Yep.
And say something.
Oh yeah. Obama was like a preacher. My mom would sit there and listen to Obama talk, and I just waiting for her to do this, and like she's catching the Holy Spirit, because he had that voice. He was very articulate. He didn't speak above, he almost spoke at an average level, to where, he's not really, wordsmithing things for the geniuses, but he's not dumbing it down for the people who are uneducated. You always knew what he was talking about.
Right.
And he was very clear. He was very concise. I still love to hear Obama speak today.
And I think it was interesting that he'd only done his first term in the Congress, and then he gets elected president.
Yeah.
He didn't have a big track record, so anyway.
Sometimes the way you speak that's everything.
We got off on a tangent there.
Yes, we did. Yes, we hope you enjoyed that.
So some of the about the weaponization of the fund, some of the alleged targets include the Trump campaign, Trump administration officials,
January 6 defendants,
right, conservative activists,
parents at school board meetings.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent at a school board meeting, you better be careful what you say.
Yeah, especially if you're a Catholic traditionalist group.
Now, see, this is kind of random stuff here. This is the ambiguity.
Yeah.
Social media dissenters. Now, does that mean if you're on social media and you're against the president, that makes you,
like, I could have been a dissenter,
or it makes you, if you're for the president? How does a social media dissenter? Maybe I'm not understanding the word dissension here.
Yeah, I can only assume that for now, anyway, that just basically means, like you said, if you're on social media and your content is not becoming of something that the Biden's DOJ was aware of or good with, you were you were things happened to you that should have happened to you. I mean, but in what case? Like, no one kicked in my door. Right?
No.
It's a Facebook
Nobody
jail.
arrested you.
Nobody arrested me. Yeah. So, I mean, am I crying about that stuff? No, I actually laugh about it. I have people tell me that it never happened, that I thought I made it up or whatever. But, what does that mean? This Catholic traditionalist group, do they get their doors kicked in? They get arrested? It's so ambiguous. Yeah.
It really is. So, it's one of those things where it's like, well, maybe it's one of those things. How like you find a suitcase with $1.776 billion in it, and you turn it into the cops, and if after your term nobody claims it, it becomes yours.
Right. Yeah. See, like I said, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like, oh well, Trump says, well, I'll take that since nobody's
claiming it.
Nobody claiming it.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, this is very ambiguous. Okay, Trump campaign. I don't remember. I know he had some people that were on his campaign committee that had some legal cases against them. So that
Well, you think his lawyers,
Yeah.
for paying the money, paying the hush money and
paying
that,
the hush money
you
and
know,
whatnot. Yeah.
yeah.
So that could be because I mean even that case in itself, what did they took a misdemeanor and turned it into a felony and then charged him, right? So and then they went after him because
Well, I think the misdemeanor to the felony because of the amount, wasn't it?
no, it was that from because there was no underlying crime, which I believe you have to have an underlying crime in order for it to be a felony. So they never. That's what people always ask, like, what's the underlying crime, and no one can ever say what it is. But I think that the case that because originally it was
Well, I think they were wondering where the money came from, and that would have determined the crime.
well first it was election interference because remember they said that since he said he never paid her during the
Campaign.
debate, in the
Yeah.
campaign, he lied to the American public, and then they realized I guess they couldn't get him for that. So then it went from a election interference case to a documents fraud case. So they went off to the lawyer, and from what I understand, the lawyer paid Stormy, whatever he paid her to keep her quiet, and then Trump made normal monthly payments to the lawyer. And because of the way everything was broken out, it took 34 payments for him to pay that money back to the lawyer.
Well, I guess because they didn't want it to look like he was paying the full sum back.
Yeah, either
That
they
would
wanna
be
make-
that
yeah.
would be my observation.
It could be, yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly why it was 34 payments. From what I understand, it was the lawyer charged for their time, and everything was written out in his time because that's how the lawyers bill their clients, right? I think that's, from what I'm understanding, broke it out to 34 payments.
Yeah, even a car payment's 36 or 48. I mean, come on, that seems like
Stormy
a
wasn't
random.
worth that much.
Oh boy, I tell you what.
But yeah, I can see, that what was his Banyan? No,
No, Banyan was it. You talking about the lawyer?
the lawyer.
Gosh, I wish I could remember.
I can't remember his name.
Anthony something.
He sounds about right. We'll get it for you. And we'll try to post it there.
Yeah,
But his lawyer got in trouble, and then
not Scaramucci. That wasn't it.
No, Scaramucci.
Anthony somebody. But I might be wrong. Well, oh no, Michael. Oh, this is tough.
Yeah,
This is when
let's
the
get into
brain. Michael.
Yeah, leave with Michael. We'll give you the rest.
Yeah, we'll give it a rest.
But yeah, conservative activists. I guess maybe that conservative activists is what they're saying is the January 6ers.
No, you've got two separate there. You also have the January 6th defendants. So you got the defendants and conservative activists. I guess just anybody anybody who was, pro-Trump that felt like they were bullied by the Biden Department of Justice.
Department of Justice, yeah. I just don't see the cases. I just can't see how they're going to. I mean, you literally have to connect the dots, and it has to go all the way back to Jack Smith, or something like that. It's something with his letterhead saying, "Go after this person for posting, Kamala Harris memes." If without that, how can you prove that it was the DOJ justice that?
But then now you go to the Trump administration. There's people believe that the DOJ is weaponized.
Yeah.
Because he's go after this, go after that, and
Trump's DOJ is weaponized. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I believe they both are. They both were. That's my thing on it. I believe they both were because every time I turn on YouTube or I pull up a news argument, there's some Democrat politician that's just under the gun. And they're being dragged out for everything. And if they've gotten away with it for the past 5-6 years, then that means that either Biden's DOJ overlooked it, or they weren't aware of it. But that also means that Trump's DOJ is digging. They got shovels out there and they're digging. They're finding things. I mean, again, Ilhan Omar. And now they're finding that the lady, I guess, that they arrested for fraud, they got like 40 years. She's turning over on her, saying that she was aware of it. They said that Tim Walz was aware of all the fraud with the daycares and stuff. And I mean, J.D. Vance has just been appointed the head of the anti-fraud department, for the government. So yeah, it's coming. It's weaponized.
He's in lockstep,
Yes, he is.
with the administration there. But at the center of this, I still think at the center of this is the January 6th.
I think that was the epicenter. I think
that was some of the things that we found by looking through this. Trump increasingly characterizes many of those defendants as political prisoners, overcharged protesters, which I believe some of them probably were, victims of selective prosecution. Now, the thing is, though, a lot of people, there were hundreds of people that pled guilty. Right? Did they plead guilty because they didn't have a good lawyer? Or because they were told, well, this is going to be more like a slap on the wrist? Because not everybody went to jail.
No. It's like 1,500 people, though, right?
Yeah.
1,500 arrests or something like that.
So the question is, is like, because I got to tell you, if I don't think I'm guilty of something, I'm not pleading guilty.
Right. Oh, I'm sure that I'm pretty sure there were some strong arm. I mean, if anybody's ever been questioned by any law officials, I'm sure there was some strong arm questions in it that made you think.
Oh, yeah. Your stomach gets turned when you're in
Yes.
that office or in that room
Yes.
being questioned. I've been questioned once by a couple police officers.
I got pulled over once. When I got my first BMW, it was a very nice BMW. I got pulled over and I got questioned about where I got it from. I feel like I stole my own shit. Like, where did I buy this car? Just like they can twist things. They can twist things and make it seem like,
I know.
So, they're good at it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure some of those people probably felt, yep, hey, I get it. I was guilty. Some people are like, well, I don't know. Am I guilty? I was in the building, so I'm guilty. So maybe I should plead guilty. It's easier on me if I plead guilty. Okay, I'm guilty. Off to the gulag you go.
Yes. But, even so, there was some assault
Yes.
during that thing. It wasn't just, we're not just chewing bubble gum and blowing bubbles.
No. There's people there that were some very bad actors for sure. And the questions are, are we losing faith in institutional, politics? I think.
Are we, or have we already lost it? What do you folks think? You think we've lost trust? I mean, who was it I was talking about? Was it the last podcast we did where the comedian was asking people, it was Jeff Foxworthy. How many of you trust your government?
Yeah.
And nobody raised their hands. How many trust? And it's like, how many trust social media? Nobody raised their hands. The idea is like, trust just isn't a thing anymore.
No.
We question everything. But remember, what was it, the 80s when that bumper sticker came out, question authority?
Question authority, yeah, I remember that.
Well, now we've done it. There you go. This is what happens when you question authority.
So yeah, let us know what you think. Comment on that. Just let us know, what do you feel about politically, where we stand. Do you trust your party? Do you trust? I know you obviously wouldn't trust the other party. If you're a Democrat, you're not going to trust Republicans. If you're a Republican, you're not going to trust Democrat. But do you completely put your trust in your party and think that they won't lie to you? We already know that you won't trust the other side. But do you not? Do you feel like you can trust everything that you're seeing in the news? We're not going to lie to you, but
not on purpose anyway.
Yeah, not on purpose. But other podcasts will tell you things that are not true. We've seen that many times. Social media definitely is a cesspool of.
Well, and some of the other podcasts too. It's difficult because I like to watch these things to kind of get a sense of what the temperature is on things, and yet I hear things and I know that what they're saying is not right, but they're saying it as if it's fact.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, you want to believe what they're saying. So, oh yeah, okay. Then you find out later, well, that wasn't true. And the only one, and again, I'm not saying this because I'd like to have him on the podcast, but I would. But Sean Ryan is the only one I've seen after he has made a mistake. He goes out in the woods in Tennessee, he films it, and he goes, I got to tell you what I did. This is what I did. I misrepresented this. I thought I was right when I did it, but I wasn't, and he falls on his sword. And I trust him.
Right.
I don't know why. I'm not saying I agree with everything he says, but I trust him.
It shows integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you do,
and he's a Navy SEAL. I mean, he lived his life by integrity.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's an honor. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have any military experience. I don't have any political experience, but I get absolutely nothing by telling you a lie. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just sharing you what we know, what we've heard, and our views on it. But I think I would like to hear from some of you guys personally that, what do you feel? Like, where's your trust at right now? And to add to that, if you were to get, in 2028 comes, you get a Democratic president, right? I don't want to throw any names out there of the candidates who are running, but let's say 2028. Do you feel like things will be better under Democrat rule than Republican, or vice versa?
Or do you think things will be better under rule by anybody else other than the current administration?
The current administration. Well, we know that most of that's going to go. That's going to probably be a 50-50, but I still like to hear it either way.
Yeah, and I think there are good Democrats and Republicans out there. When I say good, I say, for the most part, good. I think there's all questions about all their things, but I think there would be some good people out there who would be good for this. One of the things that we haven't talked about yet, as far as this fund goes, is it's taxpayer money.
Yes.
It's money that we're paying in there, right?
Right.
And what is it now? What is it? I can't remember. Is it $30 trillion budget?
Deficit?
No, the budget.
I don't know.
Is that what the?
Is that?
I mean, it's some astronomical amount in order to keep the government going. And this is after Doge came out and supposedly cut a bunch of the fat out of there.
Yeah, the fat still seems to be there.
And a lot of it's going military.
Yeah.
A lot of it's military because of the
Iran.
the Iran war.
Iran. But yeah, no, I agree. It is taxpayer dollars. And I want to throw this out there, which is very unpopular comment to make, but the Summer of Love, actually, I think they took donations, but that was the George Floyd,
1969?
right? No.
Oh, a different Summer of
Different
Love.
Summer of Love. Yeah, no, that was
Okay.
free love.
Yeah.
No free on this one. This is the George Floyd riots, where basically I won't say the party, but money was collected to bail out all the people who went to jail for that. And I don't know how many million that was, but it wasn't a lot. It was a few million. It wasn't billions. So it's a huge different of number, but I'm sure that it wasn't all just donations. I'm pretty sure there was some taxpayer funds that actually went in bailing those guys out as well. So it's not.
Well, do we know that though? I mean, I hear you saying that, but I mean, it's easy to set up a fund, and have people donate to it.
There was a lot of people. There's a lot of people.
Well, I know, but you know what? But I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
I may not agree with what it is, but if you set up a fund and the money actually goes to what you say it's going to, then if people want to donate to it, I don't have a problem with giving your own money willingly.
Yeah, get money to get.
But
people
your
out.
tax money
Tax
that's
money,
supposed
yeah.
to go,
Yeah, I don't support. Let me go on record and say I don't support this fund at all. But, however, that being said, we're looking at like what we found in Doge, like what was it, $8 million we were paying for condoms in Gaza or whatever, things like that. We've been throwing money away for things that are a lot less important, provided that there are actual cases where people will get funds for clear, concise, confirmed weaponization.
Well, and you can go back to my quotes from Independence Day. You don't think they spent $20 million on a toilet, do
No,
you?
exactly. Yeah.
So, we know that there's money out there that's not going to where it's supposed to be going.
Yeah.
But it's our money, and we ought to be mad as hell, and we shouldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That's another reference.
I probably myself personally, only reason why I don't make a huge concern about it is because I don't think there's going to be payoffs.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think there's going to be
really
payoffs. I think that money's going to sit there. I think it's, and I'm sorry for all my friends on the right. I think it's a little bit of a publicity stunt, again, to kind of deflate the January 6th narrative. I mean, right now we're getting flooded with January 6th conspiracy stuff. The video I mentioned earlier where the two cops walk a guy to the edge and they uncuff him. The Roy Epps mystery. Who's Roy Epps? They're finding that, was it 26 FBI agents that were there. The bicycle racks that were bicycle back barriers that were supposed to have been removed. The Nancy Pelosi saying that, she never got the support she needed yet. The guy who was responsible 3 days prior to that said he sent, and it's all in text. You can actually look it up and find it yourselves, where he corrected her in social media and said, no, look, I reached out to you 3 days ago. Your chief of staff said no. and I couldn't talk to you. So there was obviously attempts to get more security there. So there's a lot of things that's being re-released again, right around the time this is coming out there. So I think it's kind of a thing, to me, I think it's something to kind of deflate and shift the narrative for January 6th being, Trump rallying the troops to cause an insurrection, to look, it's all formulated by the Democrats, and we're going to pay the poor people who were suffered because of Biden and January 6th. We're going to pay those guys off.
Well, that's kind of one of the points in another segment here. The historic revision is to change the narrative from insurrection to government overreaction.
Yes.
So that's exactly what you were saying there.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh well, it's not insurrection, it's
right.
overreaction. Was there overreaction? I don't know. Was there violent activities going on that day? Yeah, there definitely were. So, I mean,
there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of, and it was.
People died.
Yeah. Well, one person died.
No, you had the lady who got shot.
Shot, yeah.
Then you had the cop
who died a couple days later for what they said was stress, but I thought they also said the guy had bad health and stuff to begin with. Like, I don't know. You guys look that up, but I thought he died a few days afterwards.
Might have been.
Yeah. So I know the girl died. She was Republican. She got shot. There's actually video of her climbing through the window when she got shot, and there was one officer there by himself. So there was they were completely unsupported. They didn't have a lot of backup.
But again, maybe that woman shouldn't have been dead.
No, she shouldn't have been dead, but she shouldn't have been where she was at.
Right.
She shouldn't have been there. I am a firm believer. You step foot through a door that you're not supposed to get step through, and if it gets blown off, you kind of ask for it. So.
But again, this kind of goes back to, Trump will support the people that support him.
Yes, he is very good with people who are loyal to him.
Yeah, and that's why he commuted the sentences of some of these people because they were loyalists.
All of them, I think.
Yeah,
all of them, which I think is complete BS because some of those guys deserve to be locked away.
Yeah.
I can't see all of them. There's like 1,500 people in those cases. I can't see all of them. There was one video. The guy I think he make a full documentary on it. I don't know if it's on Netflix, and I can't remember where I saw it. More likely YouTube. He was he was part of the press. He was documenting it, and you can see because he has a camera and he's got one of those 360 view cameras, and he goes in. I don't even think he steps foot in the door. He's the guy that does all the art pieces where it's like a picture of him in the jail cell or whatever and things like that. I can't remember his name, and most of you guys will probably know him from the right. But he has video evidence that he was not in there, and he got arrested. So him, I can see where he would have a case. But no, actually, I'm talking about I wouldn't see where he has a case because again, it wasn't weaponization; it was law. They were arresting people that broke the law. Now, we talked about this earlier, the difference between insurrection and seditious conspiracy, which none of the people got charged with insurrection, and because there was violence, and there has to be violence for there to be an insurrection. Seditious basically is almost like no violence. Like that's really the only real difference between seditious conspiracy versus insurrection. But they all got cited and charged with seditious conspiracy, which I think is kind of weird. Like, why would you charge them for a lesser crime for something that you're clearly stating that?
Well, I think it's like in any legal case, they will take the easiest route to a conviction.
That could be, yeah.
Well, we have enough information to know that they were there, they were breaking in.
Right.
Do we have enough video or personal testimony that shows certain individuals committing the acts of violence? Maybe not.
Well, the conspiracy part has to be planned, which that thing I don't know how they would have proved that I wasn't there. Sorry, that the January 6ers, I couldn't afford a plane ticket back then anyway if I wanted. That the January 6ers had conspired, planned, and plotted to do what they did. That would also go with conspiracy, with seditious conspiracy, which I don't see where they've gotten that part from. But like you said, if the easier conviction is one versus the other, then yeah. Because how many people were actually violent? Did they actually capture all the people who were violent? Things like that.
Well, it's just like in a murder case. You got murder 1, murder 2, murder 3. You know, you've got different degrees of, you know, like in some states, murder 1 means the death penalty. Some states it means life imprisonment. You know, whether it's planned, whether it was intended, whether it was accidental, you know, during a commission of a crime, there's many different levels what you can be tried for. And so obviously the Biden Department of Justice chose the one that was the easiest one to get a
Get a
conviction.
conviction on. Probably quicker, yeah.
Yeah, easier and quicker.
But I don't think any of those guys, I don't think anybody attached to January 6th should be entitled to this unless, like I said, now, like you said, with the convictions, yeah, if they were going after insurrection and or actually now that I'm thinking about it more, like what you said, it's make perfect sense, but that just opens up another can of worms, right? Because if you're going with the seditious conspiracy and you have to have all those elements that we looked at earlier to qualify as it, and some of those things are missing. Like one, everybody involved would have had to have planned this and plotted it out to make the conspiracy part stick. They wouldn't have had to.
Well,
I mean,
yes
it could
and
have.
no, yes and no, because it only takes two
Two for a
to make a
conspiracy.
conspiracy.
That's true.
So, you know, Joe and John say, we're going to go do this. You know, they're conspiring together. So that
they-
might not be that hard to prove.
But could they charge the other 1,498 people with the same thing?
Well,
If they're not part of that too, let's say, for example. I don't know
if
that.
they,
'cause I'm
if
not a
they,
lawyer.
you know, if they're at the podium where Trump's speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're at the Capitol,
Uh-huh.
there's some implied mob
Conspiracy.
mentality there. It's like, we're all going to this.
Yeah,
Now, they might not have all known what was going to happen once they got there.
yeah, yeah.
But
like
they
you
all
said,
went.
only two needs to, and the
And
spearheads.
And sometimes you go somewhere that you know you probably shouldn't go, and some bad shit happens, and you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Even though it wasn't your intent to
Yeah.
be somewhere where bad shit happens.
Yeah. So again, the onus will be on them to prove that it was actually weaponization, and not just, consequences of breaking the law, which they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can totally see that. But
And again, you know, this came up under Trump's Department of Justice. I mean, you know, if you are a Democrat, I mean, how would you feel if this were the other way around? The shoe was on the other foot. Would you be in support of something like this? You know, if it was Democrats that were being arrested or being tried or having to deal with this. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's like, is it good for the goose, good for the gander kind of thing?
I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, not against government, but just a lot of, protest that gets violent and stuff like that. And in those cases where if the law got involved, it would be against, a lot of Democrats or liberals or however you want to say politically. But I don't think at this level, I've never seen anything like that from the Democrats. Not
To that extent.
Not to that extent.
Yeah. But, you know, and again, I don't want to sound like a revolutionary, but something's got to give to where we can get our trust in our government back.
Yeah.
Something's got to give. And I'm not saying, you know,
Tea Party.
there's not going to be a nonviolent revolution.
No.
I don't see it happening. You know, are we in? I don't even think we would be in for another civil war because it's not that cut and dry anymore.
No.
You know, I mean, you could literally have one state that is separated and another state that is separated versus like North and South.
Not
you
to
know?
mention the playing field was not even remotely close. I mean, people like to quote Second Amendment and our founding fathers about keeping bear arms because we need guns because we need to have them. But back then the muskets were the same, the cannons were the same, and anybody can own a cannon and anybody can own a musket. You can buy as many cannons as you want.
As you can afford.
Yeah, that you can afford, I'm sure that these guys didn't have a futuristic foresight and thinking, 1776, so many years from now in the future, they're going to have repeating bullets. They're going to have semi-autos and fully autos. I mean, the only semi-auto you had back then was a slave was behind you packing the gun while you shoot the other one, right?
Yeah.
That's all. That's the closest you got to a semi-auto back then. So, with the laws and restrictions, if there was us versus the military, any type of civil war we'd have, we're not. I mean, people think, oh yeah, we're not. No, we're not. We can't buy fully automatic weapons, and if you do, you have to pay a special tax stamp, which basically means the government knows you have that particular weapon. You're not buying
Unless
tank.
you're a gunsmith.
Yep. Yeah, unless you're a gunsmith.
You know how to do that.
But 10-year prison sentence if you get caught doing it. Most people are not willing to take that risk. So if there's a civil war, it's over before it starts.
Well, and again, see, but that Civil War, you had two armies.
Yeah.
You had army on one side and army on the other. Here you've got, the National Guard's going to side with the government.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Even though they're to protect the state, they're going to side with the government because they did an oath, and they did an oath. They did an oath to defend the Constitution. And that's why I have a gun. I have a couple guns. I'm not one that likes to, collect all these guns because I think, something bad's going to happen. But the idea is I know that there's going to be more than one person coming to my house if there's an issue.
Yes.
All right. So, and again, I'm not doing anything that I need to be, called to the carpet for, but these people out there that think they got a whole wall safe full of guns that they're gonna come out of this alive.
One at a time. Yeah, you only shoot one at a time. Yeah, you can fight all your friends over maybe, but they can only shoot one at a time.
Yeah. So you're right. I think it would be a very short-lived revolution.
It would be very, very short-lived. Yeah. I mean, and the only way we could really get back the trust, and I would say, overthrow the government. Now, if I get locked up, it's because someone heard me say that and they took it a seditious way. But overthrow the government is by voting, is by educating yourself. I mean, really, it really comes down to educating yourself. And getting out there and voting. You don't like things like this January 6th slush fund. Well, we voted the guy in who basically put it there. If you don't like weaponization of, I don't know why I can't say that word, of the DOJ, well, last administration, we voted the guy in who's being accused of doing that. So, and the guy that's doing it in office now is doing it. It's sad that we only have like a two-party system that we can't.
Well, and there's some other things to consider too. I mean, if you're one of those people that are out there that are complaining about this, you could also run.
Yeah.
You could also put your hat in the arena and say, you know what, I want to be the answer, and just don't get corrupted once you get in there.
Yeah, and don't be corrupted beforehand, because if you're not a politician, everything gets uncovered. We have a guy that ran for mayor here in town, and that guy said that they pulled back his second grade. They pulled back everything they could find up to his second grade in school.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want skeletons coming out of my closet.
No.
So I'll probably never run for anything.
No.
Although back in, what was it, 2008 or something, I had actually said that I wanted to run for president. I was actually really seriously thinking about running for president.
Wow. That would be awesome.
But I mean, I couldn't do it.
Well,
I mean, I couldn't win. Let's put that.
No,
way.
you wouldn't. No, you definitely wouldn't have won. I don't. And I know you're a smart guy, but yeah, no, they would have tried to bury you.
Yeah,
they would have buried you.
But again, I would have been one of the kind. See, this is the thing, and we should probably end this pretty quickly. But this is one of the things that I think, I think the ones that will come out in better standing are the ones that go, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. I did it. So, that was then, this is now. And people that think you can't grow and learn from childhood and young adulthood behaviors, they're wrong, because you can learn.
Well, Clinton earned more respect when he finally admitted that, yeah, I did do the do with Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
He garnered respect from me. I mean, the whole time he was saying, I did not have sexual relations with that lady, Miss Lewinsky. I'm sitting there going, dude, you're lying. And when he came out and said he did it, he got respect.
It depends on what your definition of is.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, no, we definitely got to cut it short. But yeah, run for.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yep.
Did I just rip off somebody's other saying? Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But anyway, tell us what you think about this. I mean, again, this fund may end up going nowhere. It may be something that, the Supreme Court shoots down. We'll see.
Yeah. And no use of getting your panties in a bunch or getting angry about it or whatever until it actually happens. If it happens, like I said, I don't really support it. I don't see any payouts on it. But we'd still like to hear what you guys.
Well, and the last thing I'll say about this, then I'm done, and you can do it. If we want to truly see an end to this, if there was overreach by the government, throw the people in jail that were responsible for the overreach. Don't pay the supposed victims when it's so ambiguous, but hold the people accountable that did the overreach. If that's what you really want, if you want some satisfaction, if you want some justice, then get the people who did the overreach.
Yep, I agree. Like I said, unless they can show a really true hardship and it literally all the dots go back to, Jack Smith or Biden literally signed a paper or something with their letterhead on it or whatever. I don't see it. I don't see this being a thing. I think it's just a big publicity stunt, honestly. I hope that's what it is, because I would never want to reward someone for committing a crime.
Amen to that. And on that, I say, hey, thanks so much for watching.
Thanks for joining.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Comment.
You still
share.
have a couple of weeks left for the contest.
Yep.
And I fixed the mobile app. So when you open the app now on your phone, the contest button is right there. So join the contest. We got a couple people signed up. We'd like to see more signed up. We're going to give away some swag. Swag of your choice. Go to the merchandise page at these2guys.com with the number 2.
I'm going to tell you guys something. I've washed the crap out of my shirts, and those things are still holding up. So this isn't just like terrible, cheap swag.
These are good stuff.
This is some good stuff.
Yeah. And again, it's not just, you've got cups, you got hats, you got water bottles, you've got energy drinks. We might even give away energy drinks away if you ask for those. I'm fine with that. We got a comforter that's $250. I mean, I know in this day and age, that's not much, but it's a lot to us.
Yeah, because you get to sleep with us.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And peace.
Take care.
It's these two guys.
These two guys.
It's these two guys.